Hello to everyone and the internet. It is currently Friday, December 21st. I am Nathan of Washington, and you are watching The Young Globalist, and this is the news. Alright, you're gonna hear some stuff in the background. People are being noisy, so just try to ignore it. So, Putin says nuclear war if the U.S. abandons the 1987 nuclear arms agreement. But the problem with the agreement is it doesn't cover missiles fired from ships on the ocean. It only covers missiles fired from land. That's one of the major problems of the agreement. Honestly, what Trump might be planning is that maybe, since he said that the original agreement was created in a different geopolitical era and therefore is no longer relevant, maybe he might be thinking of there might be time to make a new agreement that is more relevant to current year. Just a thought. That might be what he's planning. But missiles launched from the sea should be covered in the new agreement, because those are nuclear too. Putin's fears may be unfounded, or they may be entirely realistic. I guess it really just all depends on how people react to the deal being withdrawn from. If they choose to raise tensions or not, well, we'll see. Personally, I think it's just time that they go ahead and go forward with a new agreement. Might be better off for everyone. Plus, the tyrannical Belgian government dead and gone. Protesters in Belgium have won a great victory today, as their current Prime Minister Charles Michel has been forced to resign by the protesters. Belgium needs to work on building a new government, a better, more efficient, more efficient, and more free. I'm not saying more American, like some people might suggest I might be saying, but no, just better than their old one. Their prime minister resigns, and the chaos has caused Belgium's government to essentially shut down. I say they should tear it down and build a new one, new and better. That's what I'd say they should do. Of course, that's just my opinion. So it's a great victory. Tyrannical globalist government trying to fight back against the globalism. Hell yeah. Denmark, the Queen of Ice, Miss Strasbourg, I don't remember her first name, but you know what? She's recently told the Somalians to basically just go home and work on rebuilding and improving your nation. Now that basically parts of it have been ruled safe, that things in Somalia have quieted down, that it's safe for them to go back. I'm totally with Denmark. They pushed on being a possible human rights violator, but they proved me wrong. We have yet to hear anything. They were just kind of very rude. They were rude at most. So hell yeah, Denmark. Send them home. Well done. Democrats, neocons, and military warmongers say that ISIS is not defeated, but Trump disagrees as he pulls troops away. And he is right, it would seem. The data would reflect that ISIS has indeed been defeated. Personally, I think they just want the American bully state to continue. They also make arguments like, oh, Russia will be made more powerful, China will become more powerful. And what's that got to do with us exactly? How's that our problem? Russia and or China becoming more powerful has nothing to do with us. It's not our problem. Plain and simple. That's just typical warmongering tactics. And it's the Democrats too, and the neocons. The liberals are just as warmongering as the conservatives. Just as. They're no different in this area. I would say ISIS probably is in a position where you could claim that they have in fact been defeated. They might not have the power they once did. At the very least, it marks the end of the American bully states, at least in Yemen. Oh, it might destabilize the Middle East. And? That's our problem. How? That affects us? How? Stop being such moral busybodies already. No one asks you to ride in on a white horse telling people how to do. Telling people how it is. No one asked for your ass. So stay home. Matthew Whitaker gets office. He is now the acting Attorney General. And he may now be able to end the Mueller probe if he so chooses. He's now in a position where he could bring it to a screeching halt. Which is what they were afraid of, which is why they kept him, tried to keep him from getting the position, claiming, oh, he has a strong anti-Mueller position. You know, he's obviously against us. Like, good. Your probe has gone on quite long enough, I'd say. It's obvious that you're just butthurt that Trump took office and he wasn't the guy you wanted in there. And that you're just trying to do anything and everything to get him out. Seems pretty obvious to me. Meanwhile, Steve Scalise, I think that's how you say it, S-C-A-L-I-S-E, Steve Scalise confirms the funding for the border wall. I am happy about that. I'm just like, finally get that issue off the table and start talking about other problems. Get that wall built to keep the illegal migrants out. Save us the trouble of having to worry about migrants draining on our economy, worrying about sanctuary cities, and so forth. And start worrying about other problems. Get that fucking wall built already. It'll force them to stay back in their countries and help to make them better instead of always coming to here for their safety, for their sovereignty. If they keep leaving their country, then their country will always be what it is now. But if they stay, they might have a chance to make things better. Stay and fight. The border wall force them to because they'll basically have no choice. John McCain seems to have leaked the Steele dossier to BuzzFeed. Like, he might have accidentally did an early leak to BuzzFeed, and that's partly how they knew about it. And this is coming from a court judge, so if it is indeed the court's ruling, then it's probably true, in which case McCain released something he wasn't supposed to. Go figure. That John McCain is a piece of work, I tell you. The infamous Steele dossier, which there's reason to believe it might have been bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton and is therefore forged. It seems a pretty fairly likely scenario if you ask me. Now, before the show is over, I'm going to read you a quick article. This article is about, article about a judge making Trump bring back the deported migrants. Oh, hold on. There we go. Where is it? Yeah. Right, here we are. Let me read you this article, folks. Flynn Judge orders deported illegals to return to the United States. The judge presiding over General Flynn's case has ordered the Trump administration to allow deported migrants back into the U.S. Judge Emmett G. Sullivan, who earlier this week blasted former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, ordered the White House to undeport migrants who were ousted under Trump's strict new asylum policy. Because it is the will of Congress, not the whims of the executive, that determines the standard for expedited removal. The court finds that those policies are unlawful, Judge Sullivan wrote. Information Liberation reports we all must be subject to the whims of our batshit crazy judiciary instead. This is the same judge who suggested Michael Flynn committed treason on Tuesday, only to walk it back after realizing he was completely uninformed. From CNN, Judge walks back treason questions. See, even CNN says it, and they lie to you on a regular basis. Judge Emmett Sullivan started the second part of the proceedings by walking back some of his harshest comments. I made a statement about Mr. Flynn acting as a foreign agent in the White House. He said Sullivan added that he realized that was incorrect. Prosecutor Brandon Von Krack said the foreign lobbying Flynn did ended before the Trump administration began. Sullivan also walked back his treason questions. I'm not suggesting Flynn committed treason, Sullivan now said. I was just trying to determine the benefit and the generosity of the government. He said, don't read too much into the questions I ask. Van Krack said Mueller's team has no concern or no reason to think Flynn committed treason. Here's the exchange. Many of you have said with great confidence that Michael Flynn is indisputably guilty of treason and that Judge Sullivan is absolutely correct to bring it up in court. One problem, Mueller says not true via Adam Goldman NYT plc.twitter.com, according to Brian York on December 19, 2018. To recap, a heated and bombastic Judge Sullivan decided to extemporaneously wonder in open court whether Mike Flynn is guilty of treason, even though the prosecutors never even came close to alleging that. He then apologized. Shows how pervasive the treason meme has become. Daniel Horowitz on Monday accused Sullivan of treason for rewriting our immigration laws to foster an illegal invasion. Judge Emmett Sullivan just became a traitor to his country by illegally rewriting asylum and fostering this invasion. This ruling, more than any other, enables the mother's milk of the most evil drug cartels. Yeah, so apparently Judge Sullivan was not fully aware of everything going on, but he was at least partly ignorant and pretty much just talking out his ass, to put it simply. Treason, the idea of Trump treason, it is a meme. It is a meme in the most original sense of the term, in the way it was originally meant to mean, which was an idea that gets passed on very easily, non-genetically, just from, father to son or mother to daughter. The Trump treason idea is a meme created by the Democrats. It's part of their butthurt because they didn't get their person that they wanted in office. Even a federal court judge doesn't know any better. I mean, if that doesn't pretty much wreck your faith in our politicians, then I don't know what else will. Anyway, that's it, folks, for the Unglobalist today. I'm out. That's my blister. I'm out.